Part 11. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 101. Lin Ziyan took Oda back to her room and whispered to her, "I'll be outside the door tonight, so you can rest assured. Can't you go in and sleep together? Get lost, go back to sleep." Lin Ziyan sent Oda in, and sat cross-legged outside the door, meditating for the first time in a long time. Not long after, the door opened a little, and a pair of eyes appeared in the darkness, and soon disappeared, and then the door was closed. Oda really didn't lie just now, she was really scared, but now. She glanced at the door, then got into the bed, and slowly fell asleep in the warmth. Oda thought her mother was asleep, so she dared to sneak out, but in fact, Oda Michiko was pretending to sleep. She knew her daughter crawled out of the bed, so she followed her and heard her conversation with Lin Ziyan. She was very scared by today's experience, and the unknown future life made her unable to sleep, but because of Oda she didn't move around, and then she fell asleep without knowing when. In the dark night, Lin Ziyan opened his eyes and looked at the door. He knew that the two of them were asleep, and the door was not closed. Now of course, he should go back to his room to sleep. But after thinking about it, he closed his eyes again soon. Before dawn, Michiko Oda's biological clock woke her up. She didn't know when she fell asleep, and she was so comfortable. That's right. Michiko Oda had thought about waiting for Rina Oda to fall asleep before calling Lin Ziyan back, but she didn't expect that she fell asleep too. Michiko Oda got up carefully and glanced at Rina Oda, who was still sleeping. She opened the door and saw Lin Ziyan sleeping outside. Like the first time she saw him. Michiko Oda remembered the first time they met, and couldn't help but feel a little dazed. "Wake up!" Michiko Oda squatted down and shook Lin Ziyan. You're awake." Lin Ziyan opened his eyes and saw that scene again. Taking out his cell phone, he found that it was not yet 6 o'clock. Lin Ziyan asked, "Do you usually get up so early?" I have to prepare breakfast and lunch, and do some housework." "Okay, you sleep for a while and then get up to prepare breakfast. The exam is not until 8:30, I'll take her there at 8 o'clock." Lin Ziyan stood up and went downstairs. Oda Michiko followed him and saw Lin Ziyan sleeping on the sofa. For some reason, a very strange feeling spread in her heart, and she found a piece of clothing to put on him. "Huh? Thank you." Lin Ziyan opened his eyes slightly and saw Oda Michiko put his coat on him. No. No, Oda Michiko didn't expect Lin Ziyan to wake up, and ran away in a panic. "Reina, get up." Oda Michiko came to wake her up after making breakfast and doing some housework. Oda got up from the bed and rubbed her eyes with her hands. Seeing that the surrounding scene was a little wrong, she was stunned for a while before remembering what happened yesterday. She hadn't slept so peacefully for a long time. But she still remembered that she had an exam today, so she quickly asked Michiko Oda what time it was. "It's still early, Qingtian said he would take you to school at 8 o'clock." Seeing her daughter's reckless look, Michiko Oda couldn't help but worry. "Have breakfast first." Reina Oda excitedly opened the door, but did not see Lin Ziyan, and the disappointment on her face could not be concealed. Michiko Oda saw her look and asked, "What did you say to Qingtian last night? Why did I see him sitting at the door and sleeping when I got up early in the morning?" "Where is Unai-chan?" Reina Oda smiled. "Downstairs, don't wake him up, let him sleep for a while." Michiko Oda naturally knew what her daughter wanted to do, and advised, "We are now living under someone else's roof, and you will make him hate us." Reina knows. She went downstairs before Michiko Oda finished speaking. Oda squatted beside, looking at Lin Ziyan sleeping on the sofa. She smiled secretly, touched Lin Ziyan's face like a dragonfly touching water, then looked around furtively, and slipped away in a panic. Lin Ziyan was really asleep, so he naturally didn't know what had just happened. Oda Michiko, who was making the bed on the second floor, didn't know even more. When Lin Ziyan got up, It was not yet 7:30, and he was woken up by Xiaobai. "What are you doing? Stop making trouble, let me sleep a little longer." Lin Xian waved his hand to drive Xiaobai away, but he didn't expect Xiaobai to run to the back of the sofa and jump on his chest. "Hey," Lin Xian didn't even open his eyes, he raised his hand, caught Xiaobai, hugged it, and continued to sleep. "Are you kidding me?" Xiaobai is no longer the Xiaobai of the past, struggling hard, struggling, and struggling again, but still being firmly hugged by Lin Xian. Meow. Xiaobai began to beg for mercy. "Huh? I told you to go sleep over there last night, but you refused. I had to be a door god for the whole night." Lin Xian half opened his eyes and looked at Xiaobai in his arms. "Meow meow meow. Last night was a special case. She couldn't fool me. Meow. Meow meow." "Got it." Lin Xian turned over and got up. He wanted to sleep a little longer, but there was Odarena watching him next to him. How could he sleep? After listening to the conversation between Lin Xian and Xiaobai, Odarena was stunned. Except for special circumstances, Lin Xian and Xiaobai spoke in Chinese. "Aoni-chan. Did you talk to Xiaobai just now?" "Yes. Xiaobai is very smart. You can understand what you say to it." Lin Xian put Xiaobai on the table and encouraged her, "Try talking to it." "Really?" Odarena said to Xiaobai with hope, "Can you really understand what people say?" Xiaobai ignored him and jumped off the table with a cat step. "Ha ha ha. You really believe it?" Seeing the hope in Odarena's eyes shattered, Lin Xian laughed. "Ani-chan is a bad guy, you only bully Reina." Odarena was angry, staring at him with wide eyes. "What's wrong?" Oda Michiko, who was in the kitchen, heard the sound and asked when she saw Lin Xian laughing so happily. Lin Xian smiled and told her again, and Xiaobai happened to walk by, which made Oda Michiko laugh too. "You all bully me." Although Odarena said this, she also laughed. For a while, everyone was happy, only Xiaobai looked at the three people as if they were fools. "Okay, let's have breakfast first. Reina, get ready. I'll take you to school later." After a while, Lin Xian spoke up. It was time to get down to business. "I've prepared breakfast. I can smell the fragrance. You guys go eat first. I'll go brush my teeth and wash my face." After breakfast, Lin Xian took Odarena out. Although the exam was at 8:30, it was better to arrive a few minutes early than to arrive on time. At least there was buffer time to prevent accidents. Lin Xian saw that Oda Michiko also wanted to go, but it was unnecessary for her to go, so he didn't ask. "We won't be back at noon. You can make do with lunch by yourself." Originally, they were going to go to Odarena's old school to get the file, but Lin Xian had already gone there, so there was no need to go again. "Let's go." Lin Xian took a step ahead, and Odarena followed with a small school bag on her back. Oda Michiko watched the two disappear around the corner and turned back. "How long have you been out?" Lin Xian found that Odarena seemed a little uncomfortable with the outside, and dragged his clothes as soon as he went outside. "I don't know, it should be more than half a year." Odarena looked at the speeding cars on the side of the road and walked to the side with a little fear. "Don't be afraid, you should go out more often in the future." Lin Xian took her hand and let her walk inside. Yeah. Odarena held her hand tightly and nodded. Because he was with Odarena, Lin Xian did not walk the whole way, but took a tram, so he walked faster than he usually did. While Lin Xian was walking with her, he introduced the school. He was going to take her to the junior high school. In fact, the junior high school and high school are separate, and generally people from the high school cannot enter the junior high school venue. Lin Xian took her to the examination room. A small classroom with many tables and chairs at the back of the classroom, and one set in the middle. And Miho Miyamoto was already waiting on the podium. "Go in, I'll wait for you outside." Lin Xian touched her head and motioned her to go in. "Got it." Odarena pulled the strap of her school bag, took a deep breath, and pushed open the door of the classroom. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 102. After Lin Ziyan saw that Oda Reina had already sat down to take the exam, he casually walked around. Lin Ziyan had never been to the junior high school, so this was his first time here. The junior high school was actually very small, with only 3 classes in each grade, and only 9 classes in total. There was only one teaching building, including the laboratory and the large classroom, and many classrooms were empty. Because the school uniforms of junior high school and high school are different, high school students are usually stopped below and cannot enter, but today is Saturday, so no one stopped him, and Lin Ziyan did not come in school uniform, just casual clothes. This place is too small. Lin Ziyan walked around for less than half an hour, and he still saw some students here. It seems that they are all club activities, but he just took a look and left. Back to the classroom where Oda Reina took the exam, Lin Ziyan looked inside. Oda Reina was doing the test paper, and Miho Miyamoto was correcting the test paper, but the test paper corrected was the test paper for this monthly exam. Seeing that nothing was wrong, Lin Ziyan stood against the wall and played with his mobile phone. Time passed quickly, and it was about Reina Oda who was doing the test paper. Lin Ziyan had been standing outside for a whole morning, and his legs were numb, so he had to borrow a stool from the classroom next door. Seeing Reina Oda come out, Lin Ziyan asked, "How is it?" "There are some I don't know, but I filled them all up." Reina Oda seemed to be still struggling with the questions just now. "That's fine, let's go eat." Lin Ziyan patted her shoulder. Just then, Miho Miyamoto came out, and Lin Ziyan asked her, "By the way, do you want to eat together?" "Huh?" Miho Miyamoto was a little surprised. "Didn't they agree to act?" "I'll treat you, let's go." Lin Ziyan smiled at her. In the end, Miho Miyamoto went to eat with Lin Ziyan. Miho Miyamoto chose the place. After all, Lin Ziyan didn't know what delicious food was nearby, and Miho Miyamoto had been here for 2 years, so she was considered a local. During the meal, Lin Ziyan asked about the situation in the junior high school, such as whether there were special people in some classes, what rules there were, and what good clubs there were. Mayasano Miho could also hear that he was asking for Oda Reina, and she cooperated and answered one by one. Reina. Lin Ziyan suddenly called her. "Ah!" Oda Reina put down her chopsticks and looked at Lin Ziyan. "If you encounter anything you can't solve in school in the future, you can come to me or find Mayasano teacher, understand?" Oda Reina did not agree directly, but looked at Mayasano Miho until she nodded and said she understood. "I'll ask Mayasano teacher to take care of it in the future." "No need, I like Reina too, and if there is something in school, you have to find a teacher. This is our responsibility as teachers." The meal was quickly finished, and Lin Ziyan and Mayasano Miho also took Oda Reina to school. It was natural that they would not take the exam so soon after finishing their meal. Both Mayasano Miho and Oda Reina had to take a break. Mayasano Miho found a teacher's lounge and took Oda Reina in, while Lin Ziyan naturally wandered outside. As they walked, they reached the rooftop. Lin Ziyan looked at the unlocked door, pushed it open and walked out. "Ah! The world is already so dirty, then there is no need for it to exist. It will be burned to ashes in the endless flames I summon, and the world will usher in a new life. Those who have made a contract with me, please wake up from the abyss, accept my call, and give this filthy world a new life." When Lin Ziyan opened the door, he was completely confused. What was going on? Where was I? What was I doing? The person who spoke was also confused. The two of them stared at each other, and no one wanted to say the first sentence. A little girl in school uniform, with black hair not tied up, casually draped over her shoulders, thin body, looks a little taller than Oda Reina, holding a red-covered notebook with some strange symbols drawn on it. Lin Ziyan, even if he has never eaten pork, has seen pigs run. He knows that this is something called Shuyunibu. Although he wants to laugh, he is afraid that the person opposite him will turn around and jump off the building if he laughs. Ah! It hurts. Lin Zion covered his head, it's other memories that have been filled in. Lin Zion changed his tone, with his hands in front of him, as if holding some kind of weapon. Are you summoning me? What's the point of awakening me from the abyss? The person opposite was also startled by him, but immediately got into the role. I am the messenger of chaos and order, and I will bring destruction and rebirth to the world. Do you want to use my power to bring destruction to the world? Look for the sun in the dark night, and look for the moon under the scorching Sunday. I swear here that I will gather our strength and destroy all the stupid things that stand in our way. The man stretched out his hand to Lin Zion. I accept your contract. Lin Zion stretched out his hand. Ah! My left hand. It's out of control. Another hand came out and pressed the right hand. Quick! That human is resisting my will. Ah! Ah! Go away! Lin Zion held his head with both hands, squatted on the ground, and suddenly stood up and shouted to the sky. When I wake up, it will be the day when the world is destroyed. Then he slowly put his hand down and looked at the person opposite with a dull look. My contractor, what's wrong with you? The man ran over and pulled his clothes. Who are you and what are you doing? Lin Zion pushed the man away. Woo! My contractor has been sealed. The man turned to look at Lin Zion. He will definitely break through the seal and come back to me. Who are you? Lin Zion was a little curious. I am the messenger of chaos and order. Nikoyokanchi. Nikoyokanchi covered half of her face with her hands, pretending to be profound. What about you? Lin Zion looked at her pose. Although it was embarrassing, it was also very handsome. I am Shigeki Aoda, a first-year high school student in this school. No. You are my contractor, the devil of the abyss, the destroyer of the world, and the messenger of darkness. Lin Zion felt like dying after hearing her words. Ah! Why did you do that just now? Well, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Lin Zion thought it would be better to sneak away first. Hey! Just wait. What's wrong? What did you just see? I lost consciousness as soon as I came in and didn't know anything. Lin Zion gave her a reassuring look. Then go down, the vessel of the deep dark messenger. Lin Zion almost threw himself into the street. Why did he become a container? After Lin Zion left, Mao Yuxuankina breathed a sigh of relief, sat on the steps, and remembered what happened just now. I just wanted to take advantage of the fact that there was no one today and come to my secret base to play the role in my book and memorize my lines. I didn't expect that someone would suddenly break in. Her face turned red as she thought about it, and she covered her face with her hands and shook her head wildly. Lin Zion ran downstairs, looked back, and walked slowly when he saw no one was following him. This time must be the most humiliating time in my life. Ah! My old face. But it's nice to have someone to cooperate with. No, no, Lin Zion shook his head to expel some strange thoughts from his mind. Ani-chan, what's wrong with you? Oda Reina saw that Lin Zion seemed to have something wrong. Oh. Reina, are you ready to rest so soon? Well, teacher Gongzone went to get the test papers. She asked me to wait for her here. Lin Zion didn't speak, just nodded. Soon, Miyazune Miho came back with the test paper. And Oda Reina's exam naturally continued. Lin Zion was suffering outside. He was afraid that Mao Yuxuankina would come down and see him. For that kind of thing, it would be best to just forget about each other and not see each other again. God seemed to have heard Lin Zion's prayer. Until Reina Oda finished her exam, Chia Mao Yuxuan didn't show up. Reina, please wait for me here. I have something to tell Mr. Miyazune. Then he asked Reina Oda to wait outside the classroom and went in by herself. Lin Zion looked through Oda Reina's test paper and reported a score to Miyazune Miho. This score is enough. How do you know this score? Gongzongmabu looked at him doubtfully. This test paper was written by me, what do you think? But Lin Ziyan didn't dare to say it. If you don't believe me, I can go back and check the answer. Also, don't forget. After Lin Ziyan finished speaking, he turned around and left. As long as he leaves here, he should not be able to contact Nico Yukinchiat. As soon as Lin Ziyan went out, he saw Odarina talking to someone. Damn it! It is you, the bringer of chaos and order. No, it's you, Nico Yukikinchi. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 103. Reina, is this your new classmate? There is no way to escape, they have seen everything, and we can only face the bleak life. Ms. Nico Yukin is here to see Oni-chan, Odarina said expressionlessly. I'm looking for my contractor Hey. Seeing that she was about to read out the name, Lin Ziyan was so frightened that he reached out and covered her mouth. Haha, Lin Ziyan smiled awkwardly and pulled Mao Yuxuan Jia away from Odarina. What are you here for? No, I came to find you. Why are you looking for me? Lin Ziyan didn't know what she wanted to do. The contract we signed. Have you forgotten it? Didn't the signing go through? And it's not me who wants to sign with you. He has returned to his hometown. No, he is just sealed in your body, I will definitely rescue him. Then what do you want? Lin Ziyan looked at her serious look and didn't know what to say. Then, can I write today's events in the magic book? Mao Yuxuan Jia took out a notepad from the bag and opened it for him to read. It turned out that he was looking for me for this reason. Okay, I don't care. Lin Ziyan glanced at her notebook, drawing some strange patterns and long paragraphs of text descriptions. Mao Yuxuan Kina left after getting his consent, and Lin Ziyan also breathed a sigh of relief. Oni-chan, are you familiar with her? No, we just met. Lin Ziyan did not say how the two met. A very interesting person. Lin Ziyan didn't say it out loud. Okay, let's go home. Your mother is probably impatient. Oni-chan. What's the matter? Do you think I can pass the exam? Of course, Lin-A is so smart. Lin Ziyan held her hand, let's go home. As soon as he got home, before he took out the key, the door opened, and Oda Michiko came out. Although she wanted to know how she did in the exam, she did not ask directly. Instead, she took Odarina's school bag and put the two of them together. Welcome into the home. Don't worry, it went smoothly. Lin Ziyan naturally knew what she wanted to ask and told her as soon as he entered. He also added, I guess there will be news tonight. Yes. This time teacher Miho Miyazun is proctoring the exam. Odarina didn't want her mother to worry, so she behaved naturally. Didn't you have lunch? Lin Ziyan asked as he came out of the kitchen. What he had for lunch wasn't enough at all, and it wasn't time for dinner yet. He originally wanted to see if Michiko Oda had any leftovers to make do with, but who knew there was nothing, and the kitchen was still the same as it was in the morning. Are you hungry, Mr. Kingda? I'll get ready right away. Michiko Oda also saw that Lin Ziyan was hungry, so she put down Rina Oda's school bag and walked to the kitchen. Wait, let's go out to eat today, don't be too busy. Lin Ziyan knew the answer when he saw her avoiding his question, go and celebrate Lina's liberation. This. Oda Michiko felt that it was too early to celebrate such a thing that didn't even have a single character. Stop talking, I'm happy today, it's just a meal. Lin Ziyan walked up to Odarina and said to her, what would Rina want to eat? Odarina did not answer him, but looked at Oda Michiko. Let her go, or take her out for a walk. She hasn't been out for such a long time. Lin Ziyan had no choice but to say to Michiko Oda. Okay. Michiko Oda had no choice but to agree after hearing this. Lin Ziyan can always catch her vital points. I want to eat sashimi, I've never had it before. Odarena dragged Linzian's hand excitedly and made a strange request. You are a neon person but you have never eaten sashimi? Linzian's doubtful eyes turned from Odarena to Oda Michiko. Those are unhygienic and I don't dare let her eat them. That's not right. This reason is a bit perfunctory. Linzian did not continue to ask, and immediately agreed to Odarena's proposal. You guys please sit down for a moment, I have something else to do. After going up to the second floor, Linzian entered the study room. He also wanted to help Odarena handle the files and send them to Miyazune Miho. He still used the previous files, but changed it to the first grade of junior high school and transferred to Aoyama. The academy erased the period of time when she was suspended from school. Linzian checked where there were good shops nearby. Fortunately, although it was far away from the center of Tokyo, there were still many reputable shops, so you didn't have to go too far to get good food. Linzian chose a sushi restaurant. He had been in Neon for so long, but he had never tried authentic sushi. Because the distance was not very far, Linzian thought that walking there would be a walk since the weather was not hot. With Michiko Oda here, Rina Oda would certainly not be able to hold his hand. Anyway, he led the way, and Michiko followed him with her daughter in hand. Although Linzian chose a better restaurant, it didn't cost him much money. Odarena's appetite was full after eating only a few meals, and Oda Michiko would not eat more, and she would say she was full after eating a few. It made him order a lot of sashimi and no one ate it, and he didn't like that kind of thing very much, so it was better to give him a bowl of rice. Linzian didn't walk when he got back, but called a car. After eating, he didn't want to walk anymore. When he returned home, Linzian felt that the atmosphere suddenly became much more depressing. Rina Oda was sitting on the sofa, not knowing what she was thinking, and Michiko Oda was even more exaggerated, walking around without knowing what she wanted to do. He knew that this was because no information had come yet, and both of them were a little panicked. That's right, success or failure depends on this one move, but Linzian ignored them, and this situation would be solved naturally when the time comes. Not long after, Oda Michiko's cell phone rang. She took out her cell phone in a panic and looked at the caller ID on it. It was an unfamiliar number. For a moment, she didn't know whether to answer it or not, and stayed where she was until Linzian reminded her. Answer it and see who it is. Oh, yes. Oda Michiko opened the cover of her cell phone and pressed the answer button. Hello, are you Odarena's parent? Yes, who are you? Oda Michiko felt that the voice was a little familiar. I'm Mayasuno Miho, I visited you before. Mayasuno Miho said in a business-like tone. Rina Oda took the independent enrollment exam of our school today, and her score passed the school standard, so this time I came to inform you that Rina Oda is about to enter the school. Woo! Woo! Michiko Oda covered her mouth and tried her best to suppress her crying. Thank you, teacher. Linzian only then noticed that she was using a flip phone, and the paint on the shell had almost fallen off, and the original silver-white phone turned light gray. Seeing her getting more and more excited, Linzian knew that Mayasuno Miho had done it, and came to inform Rina Oda of the admission. Let me tell you, seeing that her situation was not suitable, Linzian took the phone. Hello, teacher, I am Shigeki Aoda. Miss Michiko Oda is a little excited now, just tell me if you have anything. Michiko Oda, whose phone was taken away by Linzian, fell to the ground. Although she tried her best to hold back her tears still fell from her face like pearls with broken strings. Mom Odarena also ran over and hugged Oda Michiko. Now she couldn't hold back anymore. Okay, it's a good thing that Reina passed the exam, don't cry. Linzian hung up the phone, closed the phone, and handed it to Oda Michiko. Oda Michiko looked up at Linzian. Oda Michiko's crying was more like a kind of relief. In the past, life had made her an Iron Man. She knew that crying could not solve any problems, but it seemed that she cried so much after he came. Get up, Lin Zion pulled her up from the ground. After so long, it's considered a success. Be happy. Lin Zion helped her wipe away her tears. Yes. Reina didn't disappoint Mom. Oda Reina laughed beside her. Yes, Reina didn't disappoint me. This is her strength. Oda Michiko took her hand, squatted down, and held it to her heart. I don't know why, Lin Zion always feels that sometimes he is redundant. But now is not the time to leave. Come here for a moment. I have something to tell you. Lin Zion called the two over. Ani-chan, what's wrong? Oda Reina dragged her mother over. You will live here from now on, so there are some rules you need to know. My retirement life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 104. Underwear and socks cannot be washed in the washing machine. There are no other rules, but there is a place where they cannot go in after they sat down. Lin Zion continued, the basement. You can't go in without my permission. It's okay if Lin Zion didn't say it. Oda and his daughter didn't notice the basement at all before. Michiko Oda looked at the stairs. She had been here for so long and had done some cleaning and housework. She didn't even know there was a basement. Understood, Lin Zion emphasized. I got it. Oda Michiko hugged Oda Reina tightly. She remembered the room that Lin Zion told her not to enter when she first came here. Reina knows Oda Reina was not a curious person to begin with, and she knew that Lin Zion would not harm her. There's nothing else besides this. You also know that I'm annoyed by those complicated polite words, so just feel free to treat yourself as your own home. Home. Is this my home? When Michiko Oda was in a trance, Reina Oda broke away from her arms, rushed to Lin Zion, and sat directly on his lap. Reina, this frightened Michiko Oda and exclaimed. It's okay. Lin Zion put Lingna aside. Are you so naughty? Oda Reina, who was placed next to him, hugged his hand and leaned on it. Ani-chan, it's the best. Stop making trouble. Lin Zion looked at Michiko Oda's expression and slowly took out his hand. By the way, Michiko, your salary hasn't been decided yet. Lin Zion tried to change the subject. How much do you want? Michiko Oda then remembered, let Mr. Ching Tian decide this. Michiko Oda was really embarrassed to raise her salary. Not to mention how much Lin Zion helped their family during this period, just the housekeeping job that included food and accommodation made her very satisfied, and it was also very relaxing. To be honest, no salary is paid. Then how much did your previous job cost per month? King Tian Kun, just give me some as you like. Lingnei, tell me. Lin Zion naturally knew how to deal with her. The bakery in the morning is 120,000 yen a month, and the convenience store in the afternoon is 150,000 yen a month. Oda Reina ignored the warning in her mother's eyes and counted on her fingers for him. How much does Reina think is appropriate? Lin Zion turned around and asked Oda Reina. Reina doesn't think we need to give it. Ani-chan can just support us. Oda Reina tilted her head, thinking, and then smiled. Oda Reina's words shocked the two of them. Oda Reina, Oda Michiko stood up and glared at Oda Reina. She felt that Oda Reina was too outrageous. When Oda Reina saw her mother angry, she didn't dare to hide herself. She shrank behind Lin Zion and used him as a shield. Okay, Linnae is just joking. Lin Zion smiled and waved his hand. She was not so lively before. After hearing Lin Zion's words, Oda Michiko sat back as if frustrated. She always felt a sense of powerlessness in front of Lin Zion, as if she was at his mercy. When Lin Zion saw Oda Michiko sitting down, he pulled Oda Reina out, pondered for a while, and said, I think what Reina said makes sense. Before they could react, Lin Zion continued, in this way, I will give you 400,000 yen every month to buy groceries, and the extra money will be yours. Seeing that the two people didn't respond, Lin Zion said again, how is it? This, 400,000 yen is too much. Michiko Oda didn't know how to refute him. The extra money will be used as your salary. Lin Xian's figure is not nonsense. In the supermarket, a piece of ordinary beef about the size of 2 palms costs more than 1,000 yen, and the better ones are even more expensive, and the vegetables are even more outrageous compared to domestic prices. Lin Xian heard Otarina say that the meat she had eaten the most was fish. Why? Because she had no money. If you buy food according to his standards, 400,000 yen may not be enough for a month. He made this proposal because he wanted to try Michiko Oda. That's it? Let's try it for a month. If it doesn't work, we'll talk about it later. Lin Xian made the decision directly. He knew that if it would be more troublesome to give the decision-making power to Michiko Oda, she would definitely shirk all kinds of excuses. Yes, faced with Lin Xian's decision, Oda Michiko could only accept it. Don't be too happy. Starting tomorrow, everything here will be left to you, including housework and so on. And I can't cook anymore, Lin Xian said first. Can you accept it? Yes. Please leave it to me. Michiko Oda stood up and bowed to him formally. Okay, didn't I say that? There's no need for false etiquette here. Lin Xian was still not used to their tendency to bow at every turn. Reina has been tired for a long day. Take her to take a bath and get some rest early. Lin Xian touched Reina's hair, while Otarina closed her eyes and rubbed his palm, looking very at ease. Tomorrow I will take you to downtown Tokyo. Huh. ×2. Lingna's school uniforms are not available yet. The school requires that the store that customizes the uniforms be in the city, so we have to go to downtown Tokyo, Lin Xian explained to them. Lin Xian waited for the two of them to take a shower, while he went to the study. Actually, I went to play on the computer. He will still go back and take a look when he has time, and pay attention to the major events happening in the country. Another thing is to chat with the source of happiness. Brother Cute. I'm back. Do you still have the nerve to come out? Front row. Didn't you get caught? Where's the new book? Author, I have a secret recipe that cures impotence. What is it? I'll ask for my friend. Making friends out of nothing. Seeing that they were chatting enthusiastically, Lin Xian also told them the reason, so as not to be accused of impotence every day. I'm studying abroad for academic reasons, so there are many inconveniences. I'll talk about the new book after I settle down. Oh. No wonder I cut it before, that's why. I'm studying in the United States. Where did the group leader study? I wrongly accused you, I plead guilty. Does the group leader have an address? I want to send you some specialties. This brother who is obsessed with sending specialties to him has appeared many times, and Lin Xian has remembered his ID. After thinking for a while, he still didn't tell the silly netizens that he was in Neon. After all, Neon is small and very coincidental. After a while, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Kingtian-kun can go take a shower. Oda Michiko opened the door and came in. Got it. Lin Xian looked at Oda Michiko, who was graceful and elegant, and there was a little shyness on her face. She was really like a lotus in clear water, naturally without any decoration. Ordinary people couldn't stand it at all. No wonder she got into trouble. Being looked at like this by Lin Xian, Oda Michiko was a little embarrassed, and left after saying goodbye. Lin Xian naturally couldn't be influenced by her. He was thinking about how much trouble she, an ordinary person, had because of this face. Lin Xian had never seen her put on makeup. She was barefaced every day, but she didn't look the slightest bit frosted. This talent was really terrible. And just now, it was just a very ordinary home clothes, but she forced herself to wear a sense of elegance. It was really beautiful that beautiful people looked good in anything. Lin Xian couldn't help but sigh. The term beauty is the root of trouble should refer to people like her. Oh. Forgot the business. Lin Xian then realized that he had wanted to give the key to Michiko Oda. When he got to the bathroom, he found that the water in the bathtub had not been drained this time. No wonder he was asked to take a bath. He seldom took a bath himself. It was too troublesome, but now it was ready, and he didn't have to take a bath, so he naturally had to enjoy life. He closed his eyes and lay in the bathtub. The bathtub had a heat preservation function, so the temperature was at the temperature set by Michiko Oda, but he felt a little hot. Linzian didn't have the habit of using bath salts, so his family didn't prepare it, but he could smell a little residual fragrance now. Don't get me wrong, it's the fragrance of shower gel. Linzian didn't soak for long, and came out after washing. He wanted to help Xiaobai take a bath, but it escaped and didn't know where it went. When passing by Michiko Oda's room, Linzian knocked on the door. "Can I come in?" Yes, the person who spoke was not Michiko Oda, but Reina Oda. "I'm coming in." Linzian pushed the door open and saw Oda Michiko helping Odarina blow dry her hair. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 105. What's wrong, Kingtian-kun? Michiko Oda turned her head and looked at him, without stopping the movements of her hands. "I'll come over and get you a copy of the key." Linzian shook the key in his hand. "Do you want Lene?" "No need to give it to Reina, it will be troublesome if you lose it." Michiko Oda stood up and took the key. "Yes, Reina doesn't need a key, I can just follow Oni-chan back," Odarina said with a smile. "I will always be at home, and I will open the door whenever you come back." Oda Michiko glanced at Odarina. Odarina stuck out her tongue at Oda Michiko when she turned around, and winked at Linzian. Linzian smiled and cooperated with her little movements. "I'm leaving first. Go to bed early. I have to go to Tokyo tomorrow morning." Linzian couldn't stay here. "Oda-kun, wait." Michiko Oda had a little tangle on her face, as if she was hesitant to speak, and finally seemed to have made up her mind. "Can I take some crafts home to make?" Linzian was a little curious. "It doesn't matter if Kingtian-kun doesn't agree." Oda Michiko saw his look and said quickly. "That's not impossible. First tell me what kind of crafts you do." Linzian remembered that she said she would do some crafts at night, but she didn't say what they were. "It's a kimono." Seeing that Linzian didn't reject it, Michiko Oda gained some hope. "Few people can make it now. They all buy it directly or ask others to make it." "Oh, this is fine." Linzian lost interest when he heard it was about making clothes. "Just remember to pack it up." "Hey! Can you make other clothes?" Linzian suddenly wanted her to make a set of pajamas. "Well, my family used to sell kimonos, and both my parents made kimonos, so I'm not very familiar with them." Michiko Oda was a little embarrassed, she only knew how to make kimonos. "Oh, forget it." Of course Linzian heard what she meant and didn't force her. Finally, he didn't have to go to school, and Chihiro Shigeki was not here. He rarely wanted to stay out of bed, but he was still woken up. "Oni-chan, get up quickly, we are all ready, you are the only one missing." "Got it." Linzian shouted, then lay back down. "Oni-chan. Oni-chan." Odarina outside the door didn't hear the sound and continued to knock on the door. Okay, my eldest lady, stop taking pictures." Linzian got up from the bed and ran to open the door. Since Odarina's last night attack, he knew to lock the door and sleep. "It's only 6:30, why are you up so early?" "Oni-chan is really lazy, even Rina is already up," Odarina said angrily, putting her hands on her waist. "Where is your mother? Why don't you see her?" Linzian stretched his head out the door, but did not find Michiko Oda. And according to common sense, if Odarina wakes him up like this, Oda Michiko will definitely come, but Mom just went shopping for groceries. As soon as Linzian mentioned Oda Michiko, Odarina looked towards the corridor with a little fear, fearing that she would suddenly come out. She just dared to make peace with Linzian. Buying groceries, Linzian was confused. "Didn't I say yesterday that I would go to downtown Tokyo today? Why is she going to buy groceries?" "I don't know either. Mom won't tell me." And I haven't given her any money yet. Lin Zion didn't have that much cash yesterday, so he planned to take some out and give it to her when he came back today. Can't figure it out. No, Lin Zion looked at Oda Reina. How dare you cheat on me when your mother is not here? Ani I-chan. There's no point in being cute, give me a tickle first. Lin Zion extended his sinful hand to Oda Reina. Ah! No, Oda Reina turned around and wanted to escape, but she could not escape from the hands of the devil Lin Zion. Ha ha! Stop it, ha ha ha. Soon, a silver bell-like laughter came from the bedroom. Lin Zion just teased her for a while, otherwise it would be over if another person came along and got the stolen goods together. Humph. Let's see if you still dare to disturb my sleep. The victorious Lin Zion looked at Oda Reina proudly, but found that something was wrong with her. What's wrong? Does it hurt you? Lin Zion came over and squatted down. I was wrong, I won't play anymore, okay. Ani I-chan, Oda Reina looked up at him, her eyes filled with mist. Are you okay? I will definitely not play with this again. No, Oda Reina suddenly hugged him. Don't leave, Reina, okay. After hearing her words, Lin Zion knew what was wrong with her. Unreal, this kind of life is so unreal to Oda Reina, it even makes her feel like a beautiful dream. And dreams will wake up. Reina is so kind and well behaved, how could I be willing to let go of Reina? No, Oda Reina seemed not to hear his words, but hugged her harder. Lin Zion also felt water dripping on his shoulders. Lin Zion is in a panic now. He doesn't know when Michiko Oda will come back, and Reina Oda is still crying. If Michiko Oda saw her, she would be so wet that her pants would fall off. After a while, Lin Zion saw that Oda Reina was motionless, so he freed himself from her arms and looked at Oda Reina, who was asleep. A feeling of pity arises spontaneously. Lin Zion could only sigh. Sometimes he didn't know whether her liveliness was real or fake. If she was born in a wealthy family, she might be a lively and lovely little girl. Lin Zion took her back to her room, and he went to take care of his personal hygiene and eat breakfast. Lin Zion had just finished breakfast when Michiko Oda came back. It was really blessed by all the gods and Buddhas. Ching Tian, just let me wash it. Michiko Oda came back and saw Lin Zion washing dishes, and said hurriedly. It's okay, just one plate. Lin Zion rinsed it with water and put it aside. Hey! Why did you go to buy vegetables? Didn't you say you would go to the city? Lin Zion asked puzzledly while looking at the vegetables in her hand. It's very close to the city of Tokyo. It's enough to go back and forth in one morning, and you can be back before lunch, Michiko Oda explained. Put these things in the refrigerator first. Who told you that you were only going for one morning? Huh? Aren't you helping Reina order school uniforms? No, do all three of us need to go for school uniforms? I'm going to play for a day, Lin Zion said confidently. It's a rare vacation, and I promised Reina that I would take her to the zoo and the oceanarium if she passed the exam. Okay, Oda. Michiko had nothing to say. Seeing that Oda Michiko didn't object, Lin Zion asked her to wake up Oda Reina and get ready to go. Reina fell asleep again. Yes, she went back to her room to sleep when she saw me wake up. Oda Michiko was a little embarrassed. Seeing that Oda Michiko's face was a little wrong, Lin Zion asked, what time did you go to bed last night? Why did I see that Reina was a little bit wrong this morning? Well, I'll go call Reina down, Oda Michiko answered casually. When Lin Zion heard her irrelevant answer, he knew that there must be something he didn't know about last night. Last night, Michiko Oda saw that Reina Oda was a little too much, so she educated her and instilled in her the idea of independence. Unexpectedly, this aggravated Reina Oda's anxiety, and both of them didn't sleep all night. When Reina Oda was brought down by Michiko Oda, Lin Zion was ready and waiting for them. But why did Reina Oda look at him with a little resentment? When they were ready, Lin Zion looked at their clothes and frowned. Michiko Oda was just a pair of jeans and a shirt, while Reina Oda was a set of school uniforms. I don't know when they bought their clothes. Although they are very clean, there is still a strange feeling, which can't set off their original temperament at all. Lin Zion actually doesn't understand those things, but he just doesn't like them. Lin Zion has been well fed and well clothed since he was born. Of course, he doesn't know the lives of Oda mother and daughter. These are the best clothes for the two of them. He picked them all night last night. Michiko Oda always wears work clothes to work, while Rina Oda never goes out. This year, she has been wearing clothes that her mother has altered. The only thing Rina Oda can show off is a set of clothes that she altered from her old school uniform. In this way, the two of them have tried their best. Lin Zion knows nothing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 106. Oda Michiko looked timid after seeing Lin Zion frowning, and she didn't even dare to raise her head. After seeing this, Lin Zion naturally knew that it was his own problem, but he didn't say anything, just turned around and left. It was already past 8 o'clock, and the peak period had passed. On the way there, Lin Zion told Oda and her daughter about today's schedule. First, go to the clothing store in Ikebukuro to take care of the business, then go to Ueno Zoo in Taito District, and then go to Epson Aquarium in Shinagawa District. After a series of things, Odarina's eyes lit up. Although it was past the peak period, there were still many people on the subway, but Lin Zion protected the two people and squeezed into the car. Lin Zion held up a position near the door and let the two of them stand inside. Even though Lin Zion was amazingly strong, he didn't dare to offend the public. He only held up a small position, which led to his inevitable contact with Oda Michiko, with his back against his chest. Fortunately, he was not an ordinary person and had a terrifying degree of control over his body, so he suppressed his reaction. And Oda Reina? She was hugged tightly by Oda Michiko. Lin Zion was exhausted all the way. It seems that he still needs to get a car, but the driver's license is a problem. After all, he is not yet an adult. As for the fake certificate, he is a law-abiding person. Mainly because he has no channels. Although this clothing store is in Ikebukuro, Lin Zion found it in a relatively remote place. Don't underestimate this clothing store. Lin Zion checked this store last night. It is also an industry under the name of Yukino Takemi. There are branches all over Japan. This one is just a branch. Lin Zion took Oda mother and daughter in. It was empty inside. There were some school uniform samples hanging around, not only Aoyama Gakuen, but also other schools, but Lin Zion did not recognize those school badges. Is anyone there? Lin Zion shouted. Soon, a middle-aged woman walked out. Excuse me, are you ordering school uniforms? The woman smiled and had a good attitude. Yes. Make it for her. Lin Zion pointed at Oda Reina and handed her a list. The middle-aged woman took it, looked at it, and asked, a complete set of Aoyama Academy Junior High School uniforms, right? Yes. How long will it take to get it? Lin Zion wrote it on the list he gave her. There were two sets of formal wear, winter wear and summer wear, and sports wear was also divided into winter and summer, school bags and shoes, etc. The price was already set. There are ready-made ones here, you can take them directly, but the ready-made ones are all based on size, which may not be as comfortable as custom-made ones. Custom-made ones will take 3 to 5 days, and a 5% labor fee will be added. The middle-aged woman looked at Oda Reina's height, went backstage and took out a set of summer clothes for him to see. Let's make it custom. Lin Zion took the clothes and compared them with Oda Reina, and found that the difference was a bit big. The ready-made ones were made according to the height of normal junior high school students. There was no way, Oda Reina was smaller than her peers. By the way, can you mail it after it's done? Just pay the postage. Lin Zian really didn't want to squeeze into the subway. Sure, we have this service. The middle-aged woman took Odarina to measure the size, and Oda Michiko followed in, while Lin Zian waited outside alone. When they got outside, Oda Michiko complained that custom-made clothes cost extra money, and she should have chosen ready-made ones just now, because Odarina would always grow up, and it would be just right by then. Lin Zian naturally disagreed with her. I don't lack any money, of course it's better to be comfortable, and I'll change to a new one when I grow up. But the entanglement on Oda Michiko's face did not decrease at all, but became more serious. Don't think about these things, it's my gift to Rina for the start of school. Lin Zian knew what she was thinking as soon as she looked at her. She just wanted to return the money for the school uniform to him. Does Rina like my gift? Lin Zian suddenly asked Odarina. I like it. I like everything Unii-chan gives me. As long as I like it. Lin Zian looked at Oda Michiko. Let's not talk about money today. It's rare that I'm in the mood to come out. Be happy. Yes. Oda Michiko's opinion has never been important. Ueno Station. The three of them came out of the station. Unii-chan. That's Panda. Odarina seemed very excited. After all, Lin Zian had been talking about it all the way. Don't be so excited, this is just a statue, wait and see the real thing. Lin Zian calmed her down, there are many other animals. Let's go faster. Odarina broke away from Oda Michiko's hand, smiled and walked in front, dancing and waving her hands. Her crisp laughter attracted the attention of others. Let's go. Lin Zian called Oda Michiko and followed. Lin Zian felt that Odarina's small stature was still an advantage, so she was free of charge, while Lin Zian and Oda Michiko had to buy adult tickets for 600 yen. Not to mention, it's quite cheap, less than 40 yuan. Lin Zian took the two people in from the east gate and did not follow the tour guide. He had already looked at the map when he first came in, so he would not get lost. He knew on the internet that there would be a queue for the panda here, so he went there first. When they arrived, there was already a queue, but fortunately it was not very long. Lin Zian had seen it many times when he was in China, so he didn't look very excited. On the contrary, Oda's mother and daughter were quite excited. Lin Zian was bored anyway, so he just chatted with Odarina and introduced her to the Ueno Zoo. This is the oldest and most famous zoo in Nihon, established in 1882. Panda from China is one of the most famous animals here. Of course, there are polar bears, tigers, elephants, and so on. There is also a very interesting children's set meal. I will take you to try it later. Looking at the line behind getting longer and longer, Lin Zian couldn't help but feel lucky that he came early. The three of them waited for almost an hour before they saw Panda. If he came, he would definitely not queue up like this and would have left long ago. Is that Panda? It's much cuter than the photo. Odarina held him with one hand and pointed at the panda in the museum with one hand. It's okay. Lin Zian answered a little perfunctorily. Of course, the little panda is cute. Lin Zian turned his head to look at Oda Michiko, who was also looking curiously. In this case, Lin Zian certainly wouldn't ruin their interest, so he stayed a little longer, although he had wanted to slip away a long time ago. After coming out of the Panda Museum, Lin Zian spent almost 2 hours taking them to visit all the more famous ones. The East and West Parks are connected by a maglev train, which is a small train. Another thing that is suitable for Odarina is to get close to some relatively docile animals, such as fawns and lambs, and feed them. I also bought a lot of souvenirs. After a round of shopping, Odarina was full of energy, but Oda Michiko seemed a little tired because she took everything. Let's take a break and go eat. Lin Zian took them to the restaurant near the giraffe pavilion. He and Oda Michiko just ordered a regular meal, and Odarina of course ordered a children's meal. When the real thing came out, Lin Zian felt that he had overturned. This children's meal was not as good as it was said on the internet. It was just very ordinary, just making some shapes of ordinary dishes and a glass of carrot juice. At this time, of course, the topic had to be changed. We'll go to the Epson Aquarium in Shinagawa in the afternoon and come back to Tokyo in the evening. Why do we have to come back? Isn't it closer to go back from Shinagawa? It's not that Michiko Oda questioned his decision, but she was a little confused. Shinagawa and Setagaya are separated by Meguro District, so the journey is certainly closer than from the center of Tokyo to Setagaya District. This aquarium is located in Takanawa, Minato-ku, not in Shinagawa. As for the evening, you will know when the time comes. Linzayan kept it a secret. After dinner, the three of them walked out of Ueno Zoo and took a car to the Epson Aquarium in Shinagawa. There is a 20-meter-long transparent glass corridor here, which is nice, and there is also the most famous, the only dolphin show in Tokyo. Linzayan introduced it to the two of them first, but I'm not going to watch the dolphin show. Why, Ani-chan? Oda-reina asked curiously. You can learn a little bit about animals by watching these. Animal performances are meaningless. Just imagine if someone caught you and trained you when you were a few years old, didn't give you food if you didn't obey, and even beat and scolded you, forcing you to do something you didn't want to do in order to please others. How would you feel? My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 107. Are they so pitiful? Oda-reina still felt guilty for her expectations just now. Also, these dolphins have psychological problems due to long-term training and contact with people, and the average lifespan of dolphins here is only 1/3 of that in the wild. Linzayan paused and looked at the two. Of course, this is my wish. I won't force you to accept it. If you want to see it, you can go and see it. I'll just find a place to wait outside. No, I want to be with Ani-chan. Oda-reina was unhappy. What's so good about those? Yes. We won't go to see it even. Oda Michiko agreed. Okay, let's go. Linzayan took the two of them and walked over slowly, introducing those marine creatures, and occasionally telling one or two related legends or little jokes, which made Oda-reina smile never stop. But it was very quiet here, and there were not many people, so Oda-reina didn't dare to laugh loudly, but just laughed secretly. Linzayan and the other two left, but their words were heard by others. Most of the people who came here were couples and families, and women and children were more sympathetic. After hearing what Linzayan said, they naturally gave up the idea of watching the dolphin show. This was not what Linzayan expected, but it didn't matter. The aquarium was not big, and if you didn't watch the dolphin show, you would have walked around it quickly, while Oda and her daughter were still lingering on the colorful tropical fish, ethereal jellyfish, ferocious sharks, and funny dubbing performances on the coral reef. Ani-chan. I want this. Oda-reina pulled Linzayan's hand and pointed to a doll in the souvenir shop next to her. Rina, you have already bought a doll before, don't be willful. Oda Michiko squatted down and said to Oda-reina. When they were at Ueno Zoo before, Linzayan and Oda-reina bought a panda doll, and now of course she didn't agree to buy it again. Okay, if Reina likes it, buy it. It's a rare trip. Linzayan helped her up. As for souvenirs, you can pick one to commemorate this trip. There are many souvenirs here, and some are very interesting, so Linzayan asked Oda and her daughter to pick some. Including the ones from the zoo, they have already bought 2 bags of souvenirs. Let's go to Shibuya now and buy some clothes for you, Linzayan said casually when they went out. Still need to buy. Oda Michiko had disagreed with buying so many souvenirs just now. When Linzayan asked her to choose, she took a dolphin-shaped pendant and hung it on the key. Reina is already very happy today, so there is no need to buy anything else. Oda-reina knew that Linzayan must have paid for the purchase, and what she asked him to buy just now were all small things, not worth much, but clothes were different. You can't go out wearing such clothes, so buy a few new ones. Lin Zion still felt that their clothes were not good and affected his senses. And he didn't care about this little money. Just think of it as a work uniform I gave you. You are my housekeeper anyway, don't embarrass me. Lin Zion turned to look at Oda Michiko. At this time, Odarina had no decision-making power. Besides, before the school uniform arrives, Rina needs new clothes to go to school. Okay, faced with his words, Oda Michiko could only compromise. Have fun, we are out to have fun today, don't think about money. Lin Zion took Odarina's hand again, and the three of them were connected. Lin Zion chose Shibuya because it was right next to it, close enough, and he had been there once, so he was relatively familiar with it. After Lin Zion arrived in Shibuya, he did not go to the mall first, but brought the two to the specialty store. He remembered that there was a white long skirt that was very suitable for Oda Michiko, but last time he chose a down jacket. After all, they were not familiar with each other at that time, and it was a bit too much to give a skirt. Maybe it was the first time to come to such a place. Oda Michiko stopped at the door. In the past, Michiko Oda had no chance to come to these places. She was exhausted from working every day, and she would not stop at these stores on the road. Come on, Lin Zion saw this and pulled Michiko Oda in. As soon as the three of them entered, a shopping guide came forward to ask. Excuse me, sir, what do you need? We have the latest fashions to choose from. Having received so many customers, she could of course see that this young man was the sponsor, and the woman and child next to him were naturally the audience. After all, their store sold women's clothing. I remember seeing a white long skirt here, can you help me find it? Lin Zion spoke directly. He just glanced at it at the time, didn't look at it carefully, and didn't know if it had been bought by anyone. Sir, please wait, I'll find it for you now. The shopping guide quickly brought 3 white long skirts. This is it. Lin Zion picked out a lace slim dress, the lining was white fabric, there was a layer of lace on the outside, and the 2 sleeves were also lace. Take it and try it on. This. Oda Michiko took the long dress and looked at it. When she saw the price, her face turned red. You are so old and still shy, go and try it. Lin Zion misunderstood her. It was the price that scared her. Yes, after Lin Zion said this, she reacted and took the long dress to the dressing room. When the shopping guide saw this scene, she thought of those bosses who brought mistresses, but it didn't look like that. Other women were begging to buy, but this one didn't look like buying. And the young man looks so young, it's not like he has such a big daughter, could it be? She has seen some outrageous things in her line of work. While the salesperson was thinking about it, Michiko Oda had already changed her clothes and came out. Lin Zion knew a lot of words and sentences, but when asked to describe it, he could only say one sentence. Really pretty. Michiko Oda is really a natural beauty. Not only Lin Zion thought so, but even the salesperson was stunned. How is it? Is it okay? It's a little small, I can't breathe. Michiko Oda didn't dare to speak loudly, holding her breath, for fear that the skirt would collapse if she exerted force. No wonder. Lin Zion glanced at her chest and muttered to himself. What? Oh. Nothing. Lin Zion turned around and asked the salesperson, is there a bigger one? Yes. Miss, please follow me. She reacted and took Michiko Oda to the dressing room again. Oni-chan, Reina wants one too. Oda. Reina took advantage of her mother's absence to act like a spoiled child to Lin Zion. What do you want? My mom's long skirt. Oda. Reina pointed in the direction where Oda Michiko disappeared. Lin Zion glanced at her figure. Unfortunately, you really can't wear it? Oni-chan, you're such a bad guy. Oda. Reina swelled up like a pufferfish and punched Lin Zion's thigh twice. Girls usually stop growing at the age of 16. Grow up quickly, or you'll have no hope. Lin Zion said seriously, holding back a smile. Humph. I'm ignoring you. Oda. Reina turned her head away, waiting for Lin Zion to coax her. After waiting for a while, there was no sound. She slowly turned her head to take a peek, but found that Lindsay Ian was looking at her. She was so scared that she turned back suddenly, as if she didn't coax me, "Don't even think about me paying attention to you. Reina, don't be afraid, I have a way." Lindsay Ian leaned close to her ear. "What can I do?" Reina turned around happily, but found Lindsay Ian smiling. Of course, she knew he was lying to her. Her face immediately turned bad. Lindsay Ian saw the change in her expression and knew that she was not joking with him. It seemed that he was asking for trouble again, so he immediately coaxed her. "I'll buy you milk when I get home. Drink a bottle every day and you'll grow taller soon." "Ani-chan," Reina looked at Lindsay Ian. "What's the matter? Did I offend Reina again? I plead guilty." "Reina, please don't be angry, okay?" Lindsay Ian decisively admitted his mistake. After all, her mother had been in there for a while. What if she came out and saw this situation and said that he bullied a child? If Reina doesn't grow up, will Ani-chan still want me? Reina was a little depressed. "Why not? Our Reina is so cute, and your mother is so tall, you can't be that bad. It's just that you didn't eat well before, which led to malnutrition. Go back and have more food. I will raise you like a pig, and I don't believe you can't grow up." "Humph. Ani-chan is the pig." Reina burst into laughter and smiled again, and Oda Michiko also came out. The feeling of racing against time was a bit exciting. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 108. When the man saw the woman arriving, he let go of Michiko Oda and learned from the argument between the two that they were husband and wife. "I'm just going to change some clothes. You're going to mess with other women during this time. Stop talking, let's go." Seeing that everyone around him was looking at him like a joke, the man immediately pulled the woman to leave. But the woman still refused to give in and scolded her whenever she opened her mouth. "You bastard, you use my money to please other women, go out with other women every day, and bring women home. I've had enough of you." When she said these words, the people around her condemned the man. "Do you think he's still a man? This woman is also a bitch, wouldn't it be better to divorce her as soon as possible? That man looks quite normal, I didn't expect him to be this kind of person. He has no right to call himself a man. Even such a person has a wife. This world is really strange." When he heard the words next to him, the man's face turned black, and when he looked at his wife, there was something strange in his eyes. "Stop talking," the man became angry and slapped the woman. "Pa!" There was a crisp sound, and the woman fell to the ground and looked at the man. "What else can you do besides beating me? Trash." Seeing that his face was in disgrace, the man stretched out his hand again, but he did not dare to strike him in full view of the public. Because the trend of public opinion has changed from the moment he hit people. He hit someone. What a shame. Get out of here, you scumbag. He only beats the crap out of his wife. In this situation, he really didn't dare to take action, as public anger was hard to offend, so he had no choice but to smile and turn to coax the woman. "Honey, I understand my mistake, let's go home. I promise I won't do it again. Come home with me first. We'll talk about it slowly when we get home." The man said a lot, but the woman ignored him, and the people around him began to laugh at him. "It's all her." The man was suddenly very excited, pointing at Michiko Oda and said, "It's all her. She took me to the sexy underwear and tempted me, otherwise I wouldn't be like this." Michiko Oda was stunned when she heard what he said. It was obviously him who was harassing her, so how could she seduce him? The people around me were also shocked. So everyone looked at Michiko Oda. "I didn't, it was him who harassed me." Michiko Oda defended herself, but no one believed her. After all, people who eat melons don't think it's a big deal. If they drag someone into the water, they will have more fun, as long as it's not them. And here, Michiko Oda still attracts hatred. After all, no woman present can compare to her, and being hurt by a better person is more satisfying to them. Suddenly the dark side of human nature takes over. It's so shameless. I didn't expect that. What a bitch for seducing other people's husbands. After hearing what the man said, the woman sitting on the ground also cursed Michiko Oda with vulgar language. After being inflamed by the people around him, he got up from the ground and rushed towards Michiko Oda. "I'll beat you bitch to death." The three of them were surrounded, the distance between them was not far, and Michiko Oda was cut off from her retreat. It took less than 2 seconds for the woman to get up and rush to her. Michiko Oda couldn't react at all and just instinctively raised her hands to protect her head. But the imaginary attack did not come. Michiko Oda opened her eyes and saw the woman stopping in front of her, her hand being caught by the other hand. When she saw the person behind the woman, Oda Michiko breathed a sigh of relief. "It's okay, because he's here." "What are you doing?" The woman looked at Lin Zion with a ferocious face. "Get out of here. You're blocking my way." Lin Zion, who would be polite to such a person, threw her out with all his strength. "Are you okay? What's going on?" Lin Zion came to Oda Michiko and let go of Oda Reina's hand. Mom. Oda Reina held Oda Michiko's hand, her face full of worry. "I'm fine." Michiko Oda touched Oda Reina and decided to take Oda Reina away based on the principle that one thing more is worse than one thing less. "Wait, tell me about this, otherwise it will be a bit troublesome." Lin Zion heard some voices from the people who were eating melons. He felt that Michiko Oda would not do that kind of thing, so it would be better to talk it out. After all, I don't want to let those two people go. Mom. Oda Reina looked up at Oda Michiko. "Okay." Michiko Oda briefly explained what happened just now in front of everyone. But Michiko Oda kept an eye out. She said she saw the man sneaking around in the locker room and wanted to walk away, but he saw him and followed her. The attitude of the melon-eating crowd was best guided, and they soon pointed the finger at those two people. "Wow! That's awesome. You can play even after you get married." Lin Zion walked up to the man and kicked him on the calf bone. He immediately bent his knees and hit the ground with his whole body weight, and then in pain, he knelt down and wailed. "Apologize to me now." Lin Zion leaned over and looked at him. "Why are you like this? This is our business and it's none of your business. Why are you beating someone?" The woman got up and yelled at Lin Zion, but she was more stern and angry. "Why didn't you think so when you hit someone just now?" Lin Zion almost laughed when he heard her words. "You hit someone who was harassed by your husband. What's wrong with your brain?" The woman was speechless by Lin Zion, and the idiots around were also making a fuss. Lin Zion glanced at the two people. "I used to sympathize with you, but now it seems that it's true that if you are not from the same family, you can't enter the same door. Didn't you hear me asking you to apologize?" Lin Zion suddenly raised his leg and kicked the man on the head, and he fell to the ground. The idiots around were also scared by Lin Zion. They didn't expect Lin Zion to be so cruel and hit him hard. "Forget it, Ching Tianjun, wait for the police to come." Oda Michiko pulled Lin Zion forward. Although this was very satisfying, she saw someone took out a mobile phone and wanted to call the police. "Look at these people." Lin Zion raised his hand and turned around. "They didn't call the police when you were harassed, and they didn't call the police when you were beaten. Do you think they have the right to call the police? Is it useful to call the police now?" As soon as Lin Zion said this, the crowd focused their eyes on the few people holding mobile phones, and those people put down their phones when they saw this situation. It was indeed right that Lin Zion said that they had no right to call the police. "Shy, and afraid. Which hand did he hold you just now?" Lin Zion asked Michiko Oda expressionlessly. "Right hand." Michiko Oda felt like there was a piece of ice around her, emitting bursts of coldness. As soon as Michiko Oda finished speaking, Lin Zion's shoe stepped on it. He was wearing small leather shoes from school with hard soles. Ah, it hurts, stop it, ah, the man pressed with his other hand, trying to pull it out from the bottom of Lin Xian's shoes. The woman was so scared that she didn't dare to come over. That's enough, let him go. Oda Michiko didn't sympathize with the man, but was afraid that the matter would get out of hand, so she wanted to pull Lin Xian away, but Lin Xian didn't move. Okay, don't worry, I know my limits. Although Lin Xian said this, if this was in a place where there were not many people, he might be more ruthless. Ani-chan, Reina wants to go home. Oda Reina also came over and pulled Lin Xian's hand. Lin Xian glanced at the Oda mother and daughter, and slowly loosened his feet. Thank them both. After saying this, Lin Xian took the two people away, and the originally crowded crowd automatically made way for them. Wow! So handsome! Why can't you do this, a couple? Why is this person so violent? I really want to be scolded by him. Domineering, my little darling. However, these people dared to speak only after Lin Xian left, so Lin Xian didn't know, and there was no need to know. Ani-chan was so handsome just now. Out of that depressing environment, Oda Reina became active again. Violence is the simplest, but not the best, understand, Lin Xian reminded her, so as not to learn bad things. Also, you must fight for your rights, don't learn from your mother. Lin Xian glanced at Oda Michiko, and then continued, of course, you must use reasonable methods under reasonable circumstances. I know, but Ani-chan is still very handsome. Of course, don't you look at who I am. Lin Xian seemed very proud. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 109. Haha. Ani-chan is shameless, Oda Reina said with a smile. Huh? It seems Reina has never tried my strength. Lin Xian had a sly smile on his face. Ah, Oda Reina ran to Oda Michiko, Mom, Ani-chan bullied me. Hey. Don't talk nonsense, I am. Lin Xian played with Oda Reina for a while, and Oda Michiko was also amused by the two of them and temporarily forgot what happened just now. Let's go to another store. Lin Xian took back the things he had just deposited. Huh? Where to? Oda Michiko didn't know what he was talking about. Underwear, Lin Xian said casually, didn't you buy it just now? Oh, Oda Michiko didn't want to go now. Don't be like that. I forgot to tell you that Reina's swimsuit hasn't been bought yet. He didn't really forget this. He didn't plan to buy it at this time. I have swimming lessons in June and I need it. Reina has one at home, it should still be wearable. Oda Michiko thought for a while and looked at Oda Reina's figure. She hasn't grown much taller, so it should still be wearable. This one definitely won't work. Of course you have to buy a new one. You don't want Reina to be looked down upon by others, right? Lin Xian rejected her suggestion. This. Reina, let's go. Lin Xian took Oda Reina and left without waiting for her to agree. With Oda Reina in hand, Oda Michiko would definitely follow, which reminded him of what an old man in the countryside had said to him. When herding cattle, just hold the calf and the old cow will follow. This time Lin Xian took her to a women's lingerie store that looked more upscale. Let's go. This time Lin Xian went in with her to avoid complications. They had been delayed for a while just now, and there was not enough time to watch a movie. Okay, Oda Michiko was a little uneasy. What happened just now had scared her. You choose it yourself. Reina and I will sit here. Lin Xian took Oda Reina to sit on the stool prepared in the store and let Oda Michiko look for herself. He really hadn't studied this and couldn't help her choose. Oda Michiko looked back every 3 steps and walked carefully. When Lin Xian saw her leave, he chatted with Oda Reina. Reina's small stature also has advantages. What? Oda Reina became interested. No need to wear breasts. It saves money and is convenient, and it won't be hot in summer. Oni-chan bullied me. Odarena looked down at herself, and then punched Lin Zion. Lin Zion smiled and let her hit him, and suddenly asked Odarena on a whim, "Rena, do you want to buy some panties later?" Oni-chan, do you want me to choose? Odarena suddenly changed her tone, "I can wear them for Oni-chan to see." When Lin Zion heard her tone change, he knew she was being naughty again. The clerk not far away looked at him with a different look, as if he was looking at garbage. Seeing that she was still laughing, Lin Zion gently knocked her head. "What are you talking about? Be serious, don't say these words. Do you know what these words mean? How can you not protect yourself when you are grown up?" "Wu Oni-chan bullied me, I'm going to tell Mom." Odarena covered the place where Lin Zion had hit her just now. "I'm going to ask Michiko, see how she taught you." Realizing that Lin Zion seemed to be really angry, Odarena dragged his hand and begged for mercy. "Oni-chan, don't tell Mom, Reina will be good in the future, okay? Will you still be naughty in the future?" Lin Zion didn't really want to tell Oda Michiko, after all, he was the one who started it, and he might be implicated. Oni-chan is the best. Seeing Lin Zion change his words, Odarena knew that she was fine, and she bumped into Lin Zion. "Hey," Lin Zion caught her, "what's wrong with you?" "Nothing, I just want Oni-chan to hug me." Odarena raised her head and smiled at him, then buried her head again. "I only say this to Oni-chan. Get up, you're still naughty." Lin Zion played with her for a while to pass the time, but Oda Michiko didn't come back yet. "It's been so long, won't something happen again?" Lin Zion frowned and said to himself. "What's wrong with Oni-chan?" Odarena asked when she saw Lin Zion frowning. "Let's go find your mom." "Why haven't you chosen anything in such a long time?" Lin Zion patted Odarena, who was sitting on his lap, and motioned her to get up. Oh, Odarena got up obediently. The two walked around and found Oda Michiko in a place. "What's the matter? Haven't you chosen yet?" It was quite strange for Lin Zion to drag Odarena here. They received a lot of attention along the way. "These things are too expensive." Oda Michiko looked around and found that the cheapest of them was more expensive than her clothes. "The quality here should be good. By the way, help Reina pick 2 panties." Lin Zion gave the order directly. Seeing that she didn't move, Lin Zion asked, "Do you want me to help you choose?" "Sure." Odarena came over to join in the fun. "What do you like, Oni-chan? Blue and white stripes or pink butterflies?" "Did you promise me something just now?" Lin Zion turned his head and looked at Odarena. "Oh." Odarena looked dejected and followed Oda Michiko obediently. "Mom, let's go pick it." "Hurry up, there's not much time left," Lin Zion reminded them. "I know, Oni-chan." Odarena dragged Oda Michiko away. "Let's hurry up, Oni-chan seems to have something to do." Odarena saw Lin Zion open his phone screen several times to check the time, and guessed that Lin Zion must have something to do. "I know, don't drag me." Oda Michiko is not a person who doesn't know how to behave, and she is also afraid of causing trouble for Lin Zion. Because she had just gone around, Oda Michiko just went over to pick up the ones she liked. Anyway, she knew the size. As for Odarena, she chose 2 by herself. Lin Zion was already waiting for them at the counter, and he checked out and left. Looking at the time, it should be enough to rush over. "Let's go buy a swimsuit for Reina." There happened to be a store not far away, so Lin Zion took people in directly. Lin Zion told them the school's requirements. First, it must be dark, black, navy blue or brown. Second, it must be one piece, not too revealing. In fact, Lin Zion didn't need to tell her. Oda Michiko had bought a school swimsuit before. It was also called a swimsuit for school children. Most swimsuit stores have it. The two of them went in, and Lin Zion waited at the door. But they came out soon. "Is it done?" Lin Zion saw them nod. "Then let's go." My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 110. No, Mom likes it very much. Oda Michiko touched Oda Reina's hair with relief. Okay, this is not a sentimental drama, just accept it. If you don't know how to use it, let Reina teach you, or ask me. Lin Zian interrupted their emotional exchange. Yes, Oda Michiko knew that she could only do her best. Okay, go get Reina's set of clothes to wash first, and use a hair dryer to dry it tonight, otherwise Reina will have nothing to wear to school tomorrow. After Lin Zian finished speaking, he went upstairs to find Xiaobai. The fish meat left this morning had been eaten, and he would have to make some more for it later. You sleep after eating every day, you are almost like a pig. Lin Zian pulled it out of its nest. Meow. What do you mean I won't take you out to play? I'm busy. Talk to you when I have time. Lin Zian took Xiaobai downstairs, put it down, and went to the kitchen to prepare food for it. Are you hungry, Qingtian? Let me do it. Seeing Lin Zian walking into the kitchen, Michiko Oda quickly put down what she was holding and rushed over. You really can't help me with this. Lin Zian smiled and stopped Michiko Oda from intervening. Seeing that she didn't understand, Lin Zian had to point at Xiaobai and explained, it only eats what I make. Michiko Oda glanced at Xiaobai, then turned to look at Lin Zian, and then left. Both the man and the cat have problems. The mother and daughter of Oda are in the bathroom, and the two help each other take a bath. Mom, when can I grow up? Rina Oda, who was rubbing Michiko Oda's back, asked. You, Michiko Oda turned around, what are you thinking about all day? I want to grow up quickly, so that I can help my mother. Rina Oda looked at the majestic mountains on her mother's chest, and then looked at her own plains, and almost cried. There was another thing she didn't dare to say. Okay, I didn't grow until junior high school, don't worry. Oda Michiko also saw that she was a little anxious, and comforted her. Can I still grow taller? Oda Reina asked happily. Of course. As long as you eat and sleep well. How can I be as big as Mom? Oda Reina reached out to grab it, but was slapped away by Oda Michiko. Be honest, I told you to eat more fish and you didn't believe it, Oda Michiko said unhappily. It was Aoda-kun who led Reina astray. But compared to the zombie Reina before, this one is better now, although a little naughty. Mom, you must be tired today, let me help you pinch it. Oda Reina ran to Oda Michiko's back with a smile and pinched it hard. Don't touch me randomly. Oda Michiko dragged the washed Oda Reina into the bath, lie down by yourself. And she washed off the foam on her body and lay in. Ah! Qingtian-kun, you can take a shower now, Oda Michiko called out at the stairs, and then took Oda Reina up to the second floor. Got it. Lin Zian was still watching Xiaobai eat, so he would take his time with taking a shower. When Lin Zian finished taking a shower, it was almost 10 o'clock, about the same as usual. He should have gone back to his room to play with his phone or to the study to play with his computer, but he still had something to say to Oda and her daughter. Lin Zian heard Oda Reina's joyful laughter as soon as he reached the second floor, and went over to knock on the door. Can I come in? Yes, please come in. The door opened before he twisted his hand on the doorknob. Lin Zian heard Oda Michiko's voice, but it was Oda Reina who opened the door. What are you doing here, Ani-chan? Oda Reina half peeked out of the crack in the door. I have something to discuss with you. Lin Zian pushed the door open. Michiko Oda sat on the quilt with a mobile phone in her hand. It seems that Reina Oda was teaching Michiko Oda how to use a smartphone. I have something to tell you. Lin Zian got straight to the point, it's not good for you to sleep on the floor every day. I'll buy you a bed tomorrow. We know, Michiko Oda replied to him normally. Huh, Lin Zian thought she was a little abnormal, I thought you would persuade me. When have I ever persuaded Qingtian to make a decision? Michiko Oda looked at Lin Zian with a bit of resentment. He was embarrassed by her. Haha, Lin Zian could only smile awkwardly, it depends on the situation. After all, I'm not always right. Unai-chan. I want a big bed, the kind that can turn around. Reina Oda came over and hugged Lin Xian's arm. By the way, Lin Xian turned to look at Oda. Reina, have you ever thought about sleeping in a separate room from your mother? Sleeping separately? Lin Xian's question really stumped Oda. Reina. She had never left Oda Michiko since she was a child, and she couldn't sleep without her at night. Yes. You are already 14 years old. If it was before, there was no condition and you could only sleep together, but now you have the conditions and you still sleep with your mother, you will be laughed at. But what do you want to do? Oda Michiko interrupted Oda. Reina and turned the conversation to Lin Xian. Lin Xian knew from Oda Michiko's expression that she was thinking nonsense again. There was no way, Lin Xian could only persuade them again with his mouth. Reina is 14 years old this year, right? Yes. What does this have to do with sleeping in separate rooms? Of course, she is not young anymore, she also has privacy, she needs her own private space, she can't tell you everything. Also, what if any classmates or friends come to see her? Take her to your room. Don't need me to tell you, think about the consequences yourself. And do you think that bringing her with you is protection? You will only make her more vulnerable. What if she brings her boyfriend back in the future? Will she sleep with you? This. Reina, come here. Lin Xian interrupted Oda Michiko's words and said to himself. Reina, do you know what it means to grow up? Huh, Oda. Reina didn't know how to get to this point, so she could only shake her head. To judge whether a person has grown up, it is not about age and body shape, but about mind and ability. You, Oda. Reina, can't even take care of yourself, so what do you say you want to grow up? How can you help your mother? I think you should just be your mother's good baby. Reina didn't. Let me ask you another question. Lin Xian paused, and when both of them looked at him, he continued, is it good for me to have separate rooms? Seeing that the two of them didn't respond, Lin Xian continued. Why would I give you another room for no reason? Who am I doing this for? No. Did Unai-chan peek at us taking a shower just now? Otherwise, how would she know what I said?